Could it be true? Has Mali, a landlocked West African nation, really become debt-free? This claim is buzzing on social media, getting thousands of likes and shares. But is there more to the story than what we see? As we explore further, one question comes to mind. Is Mali's financial freedom a real victory or just words? Well, let's find out. Recently, viral posts have been popping up online, saying Mali is the first African nation to be debt-free. These posts say Mali's finance minister made this announcement. They claim the military government sold off assets of corrupt elites and jailed former officials to achieve this. The numbers behind these claims are impressive. One post alone got over 296,000 views, 1,800 reposts, and 7,400 likes. Another post from @Ariafata1 got over 154,000 views, 3,300 likes, and 1,000 reposts. It's clear this story has caught the eye of many, understanding the recent viral claims about Mali's debt status. A Reuters report from October 2022 sparked a lot of talk about Mali's debt. Alouseni Sanu, Mali's economy minister, said the country would pay off 200 billion CFA francs, $332 million, of its internal debt. But this payment is just a small part of Mali's total debt. The news of debt cancellation might sound good for Mali's economy, but it's important to see the bigger picture of Mali's finances. Sub-Saharan Africa's external public debt has grown a lot. It went from $305 billion in 2010 to $702 billion in 2020, which is 40% of the region's GDP. This increase in debt is a big problem for African countries. They paid $44 billion in interest to creditors in 2022. In some cases, debt service costs are as high as 60% of a country's income. This leaves little money for important things like healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Even though Mali is paying off some of its debt, it's important to look at the bigger picture. Mali and other African countries face big challenges in achieving financial stability and growth. With the COVID-19 pandemic still affecting the African economy, finding ways to cancel debt and invest in key areas is more urgent than ever. The reality behind Mali's current financial situation. Mali recently paid off $332 million in internal debt, catching the world's eye. But Mali's financial situation is much more complicated. The country's debt includes both internal and external parts. The recent payment only covered a part of the internal debt. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says Mali's external debt is still growing. This is unlike other West African countries. A 2021 World Bank report shows Mali's public debt could reach 60% of its GDP in a few years. This highlights the big challenges Mali faces in keeping its finances stable. The government's plans to reduce poverty and get more international aid are hindered by the debt. Mali's financial situation is complex, with both positive and negative aspects. While paying off $332 million is a good start, Mali's debt is still a major worry. To improve, Mali needs to focus on financial stability, get more international aid, and cut poverty. These steps are key to managing Mali's finances well. Breaking down Mali's internal debt structure. Mali is working hard to become financially independent and improve its economy. Looking closely at its internal debt shows both problems and chances. The economy minister said Mali will pay off 200 billion CFA francs, $332 million, to help with debt relief. The total amount of Mali's internal debt is still unknown. The country's fast-growing population and high birth rate are big challenges. They highlight the need for careful money management to support lasting growth. Despite these hurdles, Mali has a strong literacy rate. This is a good sign for its future economic success. The government's debt and the country's GDP growth rate show there's hope for Mali's financial health. Mali's journey with its internal debt is complex. The balance between its population growth and economic signs will shape its path to debt relief and success. External debt obligations and international relations. Mali owes money to foreign lenders like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. The IMF's January 2023 report showed Mali's debt is a big worry. It's different from other West African countries. Even with help from international aid and debt cancellation, Africa faces big debt problems. The UNCTAD says Africa's debt is over $350 billion. This is a lot compared to its GDP and exports. But the World Bank and IMF don't want to cancel all debts from the poorest countries. In Mali, the government owes about 35% of its GDP in CFAF. Foreign currency debt is about 15% of GDP. Mali's debt-to-GDP ratio is expected to go down slowly, but there's still a moderate risk of debt distress. Mali's journey with its debt will depend a lot on its international ties. The country's policies, aid, and debt management are vital. They will help Mali grow and develop in a sustainable way. Mali becomes first Africa's debt-free nation. Examining the truth. The claim that Mali is Africa's first debt-free nation is not true. Alusini Sanu, the Malian economy minister, did not say the country is debt-free. He announced a partial payment of internal debt to help ease the country's debt burden. Mali still faces both internal and external debt challenges, despite recent progress. Mali's efforts to improve its financial sovereignty are commendable. However, the reality is more complex. The country owes a lot of external debts, with up to 25% of its revenues going to debt servicing. Africa has a huge $315 billion in foreign debt, with most being long-term borrowings or drawings from international financial institutions. The journey to true financial independence and economic development is complex. It requires strategic planning and working with international partners. Mali's example, though not entirely debt-free, is a beacon for other African nations. The continent's resources and vibrant culture hold great potential for growth and prosperity. As the world watches Mali's progress, the author stresses the importance of embracing ancestry and cultural influence. African nations should invest in entrepreneurship, science, and innovation. By empowering their people and using their unique strengths, these countries can achieve true financial sovereignty and economic development. This sets an inspiring example for the entire continent. Role of international financial institutions in Mali's economy. International financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and World Bank are key in Mali's economy. The IMF's Structural Flow Adjustment (SFA) measure aims to stabilize external debt in West Africa. However, Mali was not included, showing the country's ongoing economic struggles. Mali has worked hard to deal with its debt. Over 96% of its total external debt has been reconciled with creditors. A big step was a 67% reduction in debt with the Paris Club in 1996. This could increase to an 80% reduction under new terms. Mali has also made progress with Russia, reconciling over 94% of its debt. Talks for a Paris Club agreement are ongoing. These efforts, along with a focus on fiscal sustainability and economic progress, have helped Mali get international aid and stay financially stable. The COVID-19 pandemic has been tough on Mali. Growth in 2020 was just 2%, down from a hoped for 5%. The fiscal deficit also rose to 6.2% of GDP, from a forecast of 3.5%. But Mali is showing strength, with the IMF predicting a 6% GDP growth and 2% inflation in 2021. As Mali moves forward, the help of international financial institutions is vital. They offer support and advice to help Mali achieve fiscal sustainability, economic progress, and international aid. Impact of military leadership on financial decisions. The world is watching Mali closely, especially how its military leaders make financial choices. Rumors say the military has fought corruption by selling assets of corrupt people and jailing former officials. These claims, though unconfirmed, show how Mali's military might be changing money management and fighting corruption. In Africa, military takeovers have become more common. Between August 2020 and November 2023, 7 African leaders were overthrown by their militaries. This has raised worries about how these changes might affect a country's economy, financial freedom, and debt relief. The role of military leaders in finance is complex. Some believe their discipline and efficiency can improve money management and fight corruption. But others fear military regimes might focus on their own interests, worsening the country's financial situation. As Mali's situation changes, it's important to watch how the military's actions affect the economy, financial freedom, and debt relief. The success of these efforts will depend on the military's ability to balance their goals with what's best for the Malian people. Economic progress and development indicators. Mali's claim to be the first African nation to become debt-free has caught a lot of attention. However, a closer look at the country's economic indicators shows ongoing challenges. The World Bank's projections suggest a rising public debt to GDP ratio, indicating ongoing economic pressures. To truly understand Mali's economic progress, we must look at more than just debt figures. For example, Mali's fertility rate was 5.88 children per woman in 2018. This highlights the need for more investment in family planning and women's empowerment. These efforts are crucial for reducing poverty and boosting economic development. Poverty is a big issue in Mali, with the extreme poverty rate going up from 15.9% in 2021 to 19.1% in 2022. Most of the poor live in densely populated rural areas in the south. To overcome this, Mali needs to focus on building fiscal sustainability and addressing the geographic disparity. Despite these challenges, there are positive signs. Mali's GDP is expected to grow by 3.7% by 2024, and the extreme poverty rate is expected to decrease to 20.8% by then. The transitional government's efforts to improve the business environment, especially in mining, offer hope. However, challenges remain. High youth unemployment and concerns about the judicial system's weakness and inefficiency are still issues. Mali's path to sustained economic development will require a balanced approach. This must address both debt-related and broader socio-economic factors. Comparison with other African nations' debt profiles. Mali's path to becoming debt-free is a big step forward for Africa. Yet, we must look at the bigger picture of the African economy. The continent faces huge debt problems, with 20 low-income countries at risk of debt distress. These countries make up 57% of those assessed. The total debt of African countries to external creditors is $655.6 billion as of 2022. By 2024, they will have to pay $89.4 billion in debt service. This is a huge 22.4% of their combined GDP. Mali's success in becoming debt-free is a ray of hope for others. It shows that finding new ways to manage debt is possible. But the African economy is complex, with different countries facing different challenges. Countries like South Africa and Nigeria have seen their debt levels change over time. However, do you see this movement as the beginning of an African economic revolution? Let us know in the comments below. If you believe in this vision, show your support by subscribing to our channel, hitting the notification bell, and sharing this video with others. Together, we can help spread the spirit of Pan-Africanism and support Africa's journey toward true independence. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.